Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the webinar on Can Food Waste Help Tackling Soil Degradation in Asia? Insights on Organic Soil Ameliorants. This webinar is a follow-up to the webinar on soil fertility and fertilizers analysis organized in October last year. And today we are specifically going to look into food waste and its transformation into organic soil ameliorants. The webinar was organized as part of the implementation strategy of the Asian Knowledge Hub on sustainable soil and land management in the region that I'm briefly going to present to you. So now, if you allow me just to take 1 minute, I will introduce you to the hub and therefore share my screen again. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. And as I anticipated, I'm going to briefly introduce you to the Knowledge Hub on Sustainable Soil and Land Management that is the umbrella under which this webinar is organized. Why a Knowledge Hub? Well, its objectives are to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and experiences on sustainable soil and land management in the Asian region, enhance the capacity of individuals and organizations in implementing sustainable soil and land management practices, facilitate the identification of knowledge and technology gaps that can boost research and development activities, encourage the adoption of proven methods while inspiring innovation in sustainable soil and land management, and ultimately support projects formulation and implementation activities. In this regard, we see the hub as a driver for positive change in agriculture and environmental practices, as at present, it reports and describes countries' original engagements to assess, monitor, preserve, restore, or enhance soil health over time, as well as United Nations contributions to the topic in terms of equipment, online applications, certification systems, training systems, awareness-raising systems, and others. The information in the hub were collected using a participatory approach that involved the public sector, non-profit sector, academic and research institutions, and intergovernmental organizations. However, its use is meant to support a much larger range of stakeholders, including farmers, local communities, extension agents, policymakers, project managers, and even the private sector. It's an open access tool and it's a live tool, so we can add to it anytime. And in this regard, if you feel inspired by today or the webinar series and you have some original work that you would like to share with the community, please feel free to contact me. You see my email address on screen, and I will be happy and able to support you in including your work into the Knowledge Hub. Unfortunately, the online platform hosting the hub is still under development. But for example, all the webinars that we are running under its umbrella and that we are recording are made available on the CESRA website. So the website of the Center of Excellence for Soil Research in Asia, that is a partner of FAO on this work. The information in the hub are organized into 5 categories depending on their core scope. The first scope is soil assessment, monitoring and mapping. Scope 2 is on policy. Scope 3 is on investment. Scope 4 is on field activities. And the last scope is on communication. Today's webinar is organized under scope 4, so field activities. And it specifically aims to raise awareness on the importance of waste sorting and the added value that organic waste can have on soil health, to inform about pros and cons of organic soil ameliorants, including the risk associated to uncontrolled local productions, and lastly, to explore the potential for boosting waste sorting and organic soil ameliorants productions in projects and national program initiatives. This ends my introduction to the hub. But before moving into the the real content of today's topic, I would like to ask you a few questions just to break the ice. If you attended other webinars, you know already that we really like to hear from you. So I have 6 questions for you, and I will ask you the first one. You should see it on screen. Okay, this one is about food loss and food waste. How much do you know about it? Do you think that they refer to the same thing? So when we talk about food loss, we actually talk also about food waste, or do they have the same meaning? Correct or false? I will close the poll shortly. Please, Harry, I'm about to close the poll. Good answers. The answer is false. There are two different things, and we will learn about it in the first presentation, the presentation from the first speaker. Let me ask you then the second question. Do you know how much of the total food available at the post-harvest level is lost or wasted in Southeast Asia only annually? 32%, 17%, 43%, or 8%. So how much food is lost or wasted in Southeast Asia only annually? Let's try to give some estimation of the impact that also this webinar can have in the region. 32, 17, 43, or 8. I will close the poll shortly. Please hurry. Okay. So the majority of you said 43%. Luckily, it's still 17%. So the correct answer is 17%. We were lucky on this. It's not so high. Third question for you. Is the government in your country investing in the collection and transformation of food waste into other products? Yes, but maybe only or mainly for energy production, or yes, for fertilizer production. Yes, but maybe for other purposes. That would be very interesting to hear. No, or you don't know? Let's see. I will close the poll shortly. Please hurry to tell us about your government's investment on the topic. Okay, I'm closing the poll now. So the majority of you have the government investing in food waste transformation into fertilizers. Great to hear, because it's really relevant to the discussion. Also, we have energy production standing, and 4 people, hopefully from the same country, said that the government is not investing in food waste transformation. Okay, next question. We have 3 more to go before officially starting with the presentations. If you can't read all options here, all possible answers, just stretch the screen. The question is the following. Do farmers in your country welcome the use of fertilizers produced by waste? Possible answers are yes, any type of fertilizer produced by waste that is distributed locally. Or yes, but only self-produced fertilizers or those sourced from local and known waste streams. Yes, other, or no, they distrust the quality of large-scale fertilizers produced from different waste sources, like urban waste. Or no, they prefer using inorganic fertilizers, or no, others. What is the perception of farmers in your country on the use of fertilizers produced by waste? This very much connects to the second intervention that we have in the agenda for today from Sri Lanka. Okay, I'm about to close the poll. So the majority of you said that the farmers welcome any type of fertilizers produced by waste that is distributed locally. Secondly, they still welcome fertilizers produced by waste, but only self-produced fertilizers or fertilizers sourced from local or known waste streams. And then we have also a small portion of you saying that no, farmers still prefer to use inorganic fertilizers. Many thanks for sharing. Next question is coming. Who are the major investors in the food waste collection and transformation sector in your country? The private sector, government, non-governmental organizations, farmers and farmers associations, or others? Let's see. I'm about to close the poll. Please hurry. Okay. The major investor seems to be the government and the private sector, followed by non-governmental organizations, farmers associations, and others. Okay, last question for you. I hope you are starting to enjoy. That will be the level of the discussion we have today. Up to your knowledge, is your country looking with interest at the topic and investing in development and widespread use of technologies to reduce and or better use the food that gets lost or wasted? Yes, no, or you don't know? So now we are talking about technology. Development and widespread of technology related to the transformation of food waste or food loss. As an anticipation, I would like to tell you that today, well, you might have already saw it in the agenda. If you consulted it, we have 2 interactive sessions. The first one, more link about products, products coming from waste. And another one is about technology. So technology to process these waste. Okay, I'm closing the poll now. And good to see that the majority of you said that, yes, the government is investing in development and widespread use of technologies to reduce and or better use the food that gets lost or wasted. Many, many thanks for that. Now, let's start by understanding the extent of food waste in Asia with Ms. Meeta Punjabi Mehta, Senior Food Systems Officer at the FAO Office for Asia and the Pacific. Unfortunately, Ms. Mehta is traveling, but she sent us the video recording of her intervention, and I'm now going to play it for you. Just a second, I share my screen. I apologize if the quality fails sometimes. It's because she recorded it while she was traveling, but I hope you can hear and see well. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. And
hello everyone, and a very good afternoon to all. I am Meeta Punjabi, Senior Food Systems Officer at the Regional Office of FAO and also the Nodal Officer for Food Loss and Waste. Many thanks to Lucrezia for this opportunity to talk about food waste with this audience. Since I'm traveling, I'm sharing a recording touching upon the key points which can help further discussion on this topic. Though the topic of the presentation is food waste, my discussion emphasizes food loss and food waste, as these issues are usually jointly discussed for policy and program planning. And though you will see in the presentation that there is a clear demarcation in the definition of food loss and food waste. The objective is to present a holistic view of the topic of food loss and food waste and the importance from the perspective of agri-food systems transformation. Within this context, the presentation highlights the issue of food waste recycling for contributing to improving soil nutrient. Hope this will be useful for further discussions. To put things in perspective, significant levels of food loss and food waste globally and in the region are contributing to food insecurity and malnutrition, greenhouse gas emissions and environment challenges, and causing waste of resources in producing food which is not consumed. To give an idea of the magnitude, 30% of the food produced globally is either lost or wasted, and food loss and waste accounts for 8 to 10% of the GHG emissions. The importance of this topic is evident as 70% of the transition pathways highlighted the importance of this issue for agri-food systems transformation. And the SDG target 12.3 calls for halving food waste and reducing food loss in the supply chains by 2030. To measure food loss and waste, it is important to define the boundaries. As shown in the figure, the food loss is the decrease in quantity or quality of food along the food supply chain from harvest up to retail, but it excludes the retail food service providers and consumers. Food waste, on the other hand, is the decrease in quantity or quality of food resulting from decision or actions of the retailers, food service providers, and consumers. FAO is the custodian of the Food Loss Index and UNEP is the custodian of the Food Waste Index. To understand very briefly the causes of food loss and waste, food loss largely results from challenges in the supply chain, including post-harvest practices and inadequate infrastructure. Talking about the food waste, the causes at the retail level include limited shelf life, discarding produce that does not meet the aesthetic norms of color, size, etc. And the general causes at the consumer level include poor purchase and meal planning, excess buying, oftentimes due to available portion sizes and packet sizes, and also due to confusion over the best buy and the use before date labels. And also in the region, we have seen that there are increasing trends in eating out, including buffet systems, which along with efficiencies in the catering services lead to high food waste. Finally, there is a lack of awareness on the actual volumes of food wasted and the monetary value of these of this food wasted, and also a limited understanding of the strategies to reduce waste. The magnitude of food loss and waste is immense. About 30% of the food produced globally at 400 billion is lost between harvest and retail. In the region, the values of food waste range from 8% in Eastern Asia to almost double in Southeast Asia. According to a UNEP report, 17% of the food produced globally is wasted, amounting to 931 million tons annually. A large part of this is wastage at the consumer level, followed by the food service level and the retail level. And this is not to point at any country, but to show as an example that Australia produces about 7.6 million tons or 312 kg per capita of food waste every year, costing the economy about US $25 billion. This huge level of food loss and waste has environment, social, and economic impacts. We saw about the use of water for producing food which is not consumed. There are implications for food and nutrition security, while at the same time, simulations show that by reducing food loss and waste by 50%, there would be enough fruits and vegetables to meet the nutritional recommendations. The SDG target 12.3.1 of halving food waste and reducing food losses is critical for the agri-food systems transformation. To guide the work on food loss and waste in the region, FAO has developed a regional strategy which is based on 5 pillars, which include raising awareness and supporting collaborations for food loss and waste, identifying critical points for food loss and waste, enabling investments in this area, monitoring and facilitating the progress of member nations on the target 12.1, and supporting countries in developing and implementing coherent governance framework for addressing food loss and waste. FAO has been doing work in this area of reducing food loss and waste, which includes having normative work on developing technical material which can be used by countries, and also field activities on the ground. There is the FAO technical platform on measuring and reducing food loss and waste, which facilitates awareness raising and capacity building. FAO has a voluntary code of conduct for reducing food loss and waste, which has been used by countries to develop specific strategies. And there are several initiatives on measuring and reducing food losses. In designing the interventions for food loss and waste, it is important to first and foremost have accurate estimates and understand the drivers of this food loss and waste, and also to understand what is the specific objective of food loss and waste. Is it the nutrition impact, the environment impact, or the economic impact? Very relevant to this audience, the food waste management is based on the concept of the reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reducing is the first priority, that is to prevent food loss and waste from occurring in the first place. The second priority is reuse, which is recovery and distribution of the food to food banks or similar institutions, or diversion into animal feed. Recycle is the last option. The third option, which is also the circular economy approach, is through treating food waste through composting or composting and anaerobic digestion, incineration to generate energy, and disposal of the material by landfills. Food waste recycling is critically important. It is leading to increasing landfills and contributing to immense climate impact. Food waste produces methane, which is 20 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, and is responsible for 25% of global warming. At the same time, there's also presents an opportunity. Recycling nutrients in food waste presents a sustainable approach to nutrient management of the soil. And however, the actual effect of this nutrient management will depend on the conversion method which has been used to transform food waste. And at the same time, it is also important to have quality standards for reducing the contaminant content in the food waste. There are some examples, as we can see, at the national level to reduce food loss and waste. Japan has an act on promotion of food loss and waste reduction. Malaysia aims to reduce food loss and waste by half by 2030. South Korea is a leading example for the topic that we are discussing today, and the country is currently recycling 95% of its food waste. Specific relevance to this audience is the emerging work on working with local government bodies in cities and urban areas for recycling the food waste that goes to the landfill. Finally, in the way forward, it should be food loss and waste should be kept high on the national agenda as it is a key entry point for transforming agri-food systems. Some recommendations for actions include basically recognizing the importance and prioritizing it for activities at the national and subnational levels, and also investing in creating an enabling environment to support private sector action and to facilitate public-private partnerships and collaborations. So with this, I thank you all for your kind attention.
Okay. I hope it was audible. Unfortunately, we cannot ask questions to Ms. Mehta, but if you have any question on this presentation, please let me know. You can send me an email and I will put you in touch with the presenter. So we heard about the magnitude of the issue in the world and in the region, with also some country examples. Then what sustainable options do we have to make the most out of this waste? Today, we have Ms. Warshi Dandenia, professor in soil science at the Department of Soil Science, Faculty of Agriculture of University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka, to introduce us to the transformation of food waste into organic soil ameliorants, touching on its added value and risk. So, Ms. Dandenia, the floor is yours. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Lucretia. Let me share my screen. I hope you all can see the screen clearly.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me to do this presentation. And also first, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good evening to the participants joining from different parts of the world for this webinar. I think this is my second time speaking at the webinar series organized by FAO with the leadership of Lucretia. So once again, thank you for inviting to share the experience from Sri Lanka. So today I'm going to talk about waste for organic soil ameliorants production and the value we can add and also the risks associated with it. So this topic today we are discussing is more related to food waste. However, when we look at food waste, we can collect food waste at different levels. So I thought first to talk a bit about food waste at household or domestic level, because many challenges are there for us when we are talking about collecting waste for value addition at domestic level. So one big challenge is the diversity of waste we create at domestic level. As you can see in this slide, I try to capture some of the items that commonly end up in domestic waste in a given household. We have the readily degradable material like directly coming from the food refused food and the fruit peels, etc. But in most households, at least in Asian countries, these things are collected in polythene bags, or we say in this region as shopping bags. So along with that, then this food is coming along with some plastic or polythene materials as well. And then we have some other plastic refusals coming into the food waste. These are of different status of like in terms of biodegradation, they are at different states. In some countries, the people are using biodegradable plastics. Again, different definitions. Some are just disintegrating, not really degrading completely. Whereas there are some plastic materials which are not degradable at all. So there's a range of plastic materials collected at domestic level with the different levels of biodegradability. And then we have diapers and clothing materials also end up in our domestic waste, papers, and the discarded medications, antibiotics, etc., coming out from the household. And also, if you have pets, then the waste of pets, the droppings, these also getting accumulated, and then the garden waste. So these are some examples of different types of waste material collected at household level. And depending on the setup, whether it's an urban area that the people live, or suburban areas, or rural households, the nature of the composition of the waste generated at household going to be different. Especially in suburban and urban areas, these different materials not get segregated properly. Everything end up in the same pile. So as we can see, there's a big challenge when it comes to managing waste and reusing waste. The main problem is waste is not segregated properly, and there's the biodegradable waste quantity and the quality is highly variable. So especially if you think about households where small families live, maybe like two, three or four members, the amount of waste generated, the biodegradable waste is very small. So to accumulate enough quantity to make compost from a single household may be a bit challenging in that sense. Um, I will discuss very briefly about what we can do in such a setup. And another risk is the addition of pollutants, because depending on the composition of the material, the nature of pollutants would be different. There will be potentially toxic trace elements, microplastics, different pathogenic organisms, different other bacteria and fungi may not be pathogenic at a given moment, but there's a risk. And also, toxin compounds. Likewise, there can be many different things ending up in the waste depending on the source material. And another problem that we see in domestic waste usage is the waste is at different decomposition stage. So, because if you think about collecting the domestic waste, for example, in Sri Lanka, we have municipal councils and provincial councils supporting in waste collection in urban and suburban areas. And there they collect waste once a week or twice a week, likewise. So by the time the collection truck comes, the waste is already partially decomposed in some areas, especially because of this humid tropical climatic conditions. The decomposition is faster, so the material is already into decomposition. So even segregation at that level is not possible. So waste handling is also a problem in that case. So there like even though there are this many challenges with the domestic waste, we have some opportunities if we look around in our localities, because there are places where large amount of biodegradable waste is being accumulated. For example, fish markets, maybe the places where the meat is being sold, food processing industry, when like especially vegetable and fruit processing industries, they have a lot of waste generated. And then we have temples and core wheels and places where there's a lot of offerings happen, and there's a lot of biodegradable waste collected, and markets, vegetable markets, a lot of material are being like wasted. So we can actually, if we have a good collection mechanism, we can use these large scale waste generated places as sources for our recycling, and making them use as like to produce fertilizers and soil ameliorants. Okay, so with this, let me summarize again. The source material that we used in producing these organic ameliorants may contain easily biodegradable organic compounds, which is our main target. At the same time, there may be recalcitrant organic compounds. Recalcitrant means difficult to degrade by the microorganisms. It takes time. More humic substances or more complicated substances are recalcitrant. And there will be microorganisms. Definitely, there will be many microorganisms in the waste that we collect, especially biodegradable food waste. There will be beneficial organisms, neutral in the sense there's no potential risk at the moment. At the same time, there may be pathogenic organisms. There's high chance of having many pathogenic organisms in the food waste. And then micro and nanoplastics, depending on how the waste is being collected, in which containers, etc., and potentially toxic trace elements, antibiotics, and sometimes even radioactive chemicals and toxins could also be there. So now let me take the second keyword in the topic, the organic ameliorants. So ameliorants are applied to soil, aiming to condition the soil to improve the quality. In other words, we can define them as soil conditioning products applied to enhance the quality of soil and therefore improve plant health, growth, and revegetation. So I highlighted the word the quality of soil mainly because if the ameliorant we are adding is going to create a lot of risks for the health of human and animal living in this living based on this soil, then it is not a good ameliorant because it is deteriorating the quality of the soil. Okay. And another thing we need to remember and we need to pay attention to is when we are producing ameliorants, especially when we say organic ameliorants, where will it be used? Is it targeting to be used for organic farming, or is it targeting to use in conventional farming along with inorganic fertilizers and other synthetic products? Because depending on what the purpose is, how we should produce, what sort of materials we should collect, these things would change. Because organic farming has specific requirements for certification, etc. So the products we use in organic farming also should follow or abide by these standards. So there are different types of ameliorants. You can classify or group them into different categories. One way is to look whether they are solid or liquid forms, whether they contain microorganisms in active microorganisms or are those products without microorganisms, whether they are simple or complicated materials. Is it a mixture of compounds or a specific extract of a group, like, for example, peptides, proteins, amino acid extracts produced using ameliorants, using organic sources? Or is it targeting to be only a nutrient source, or are we expecting other services in addition to providing nutrients? So, based on these characters, we can identify different types of ameliorants. So let me take you through a few examples of solid types and liquid type ameliorants that we can produce using biowaste. So some solid types, we all know about compost. I'm not going to talk lengthy about compost because I know this audience must be very familiar with this concept. I just wanted to show you that compost production can happen at very different scales. It can be at commercial scale, large scale production, or it can be at residential scale. Even in residential scale, it can be as a community managed piles or at household level. So I have experienced this community managed compost piles, sometimes barrel composting, set up in an apartment complex, or it can be like in a community garden, you can set up a small composting unit. So these are very effective, especially when a single household have very small number of people living together. So the amount of biodegradable waste generated per household is small. So when you have a unit set up for the community in such a situation, the community level composting is very effective than the household level composting. However, what we need to remember is the material that would come out of the composting unit will be good only as how good the source material are. This is one example of compost coming out of a municipal solid waste based composting unit in Sri Lanka. Like before the sieving, you can see the material contain many different items which shouldn't be there in the compost pile, including wires, polythene, leather, and some textile materials. Everything is there. So this is increasing the risk of compost being a potential carrier of pollutants to the soil environment. Okay. So we have studied the presence of microplastics in some of the compost. As you can see, the compost collected from municipal solid waste composting sites and also compost produced from agricultural waste at farm level both contain microplastic, but the amount contained in municipal solid waste composting sites were very high. These are significantly high. Therefore, we should not disregard this risk of spreading microplastics and other pollutants in the environment based on the material we are using. So if we use good source material, we could produce good quality compost. Otherwise, we might be endangering the environment by spreading pollutants. Okay. Another option we have is to produce biochar. So this charring of material of pyrolyzed carbon, producing pyrolyzed carbon at high temperature, low oxygen environment is being used in food waste as well. What you see in the picture is a corn cob biochar that we have successfully used in our field experiments and also observed improvement in soil fertility, increasing the productivity. So this type of food material we can use in producing compost. Recently, we have used poultry manure as well because especially when there's a risk of spreading microorganisms, pathogens with the waste material, it can be food waste or it can be other biodegradable waste. One option we have is to convert it into biochar and use as a soil fertility enhancing material. So this is what we observed when we use biochar, our productivity in the lands have increased. However, what we need to remember is biochar is not a nutrient source, it is a soil conditioner. So if you want to cut down your fertilizers, we have to be careful when we apply biochar. It will increase this nutrient retention ability in the soil, water retention ability in soil, like soil properties, but it's not going to provide a lot of nutrients by itself to the soil. Okay? And biochar production.
Sorry. Can you close in 5 minutes, please?
Yes, sure. So the
Thank you.
biochar production can happen at a small scale, even at household level, people can produce good quality biochar. Okay? So I am not going to talk about night soil much, but this is another solid waste that a household can produce. It has a long history of using night soil, and there's a risk at present because of the risk of spreading pathogens and antibiotics, etc., in the environment with night soil. But now people are looking at the possibility of producing biochar and high temperature composting as methods for using this. Okay? So liquid types, we have liquid material materials that we can make into liquid fertilizers. For example, fermented biomass we can make with fish, fruits, and herbal extracts at household level. And also even the weeds that we weed out from the garden can make into this fermented biomass and extract the liquids, and the biosolid can be applied to the soil as a soil conditioner, while the liquid solution can be sprayed to the plants to supply nutrients. Okay? However, here the attention should be paid on how the fermentation is done. It is advised that the active aeration is important. Otherwise, it will create a lot of greenhouse gas emissions and also risk of spreading a lot of pathogenic bacteria, etc. So therefore, active aeration is encouraged when we are doing the fermentation. Okay, and if we don't properly treat at the end of the fermentation, if there's active organisms remaining, Then during storage, this type of incidents could happen. So, this is a recent example from Sri Lanka, like after the the liquid fertilizers have been produced and stored in the household level, you can see this bursting of the containers because of the biogas produced inside due to continuing microbial activity. So that indicates we cannot store these bio-based material for a long time. That's one disadvantage. And vermiwash is another way how we can treat our food waste. We can use the worms, earthworms, to convert the food waste into compost as well as liquid fertilizers. And compost tea is another liquid fertilizer we can make after you prepare the compost through aerobic or anaerobic brewing. We can convert this compost into compost tea and spray as a liquid fertilizer. Okay, so the aerobic compost preparation is favored over anaerobically brewing the compost tea. So if I summarize the challenges, one issue with these organic ameliorants, they are not very good nutrient sources. Usually they have very low nutrient levels. And however, they support in improving the soil and plant health if we use good source material. And also because of high biological active nature, the composition change with time, and also it is difficult for us to store them for long time. Okay. And the composition is not consistent because when you change the source material time to time, depending on the composition of the source material, the end material will also change. So, and also another experience we had in Sri Lanka is it may attract large pests. Like when you use fish tonic like products in gardens, it attracts dogs and other animals to the gardens. So these are some of the challenges that we face when we are recycling food materials to produce soil ameliorants. So that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Lucretia.
Thank you very much, Varshi. Sorry for calling you on the time, but today we have a lot of interventions, and I have to be a bit strict with all speakers.
No problem.
Thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation, and I would like to invite participants to ask their question in the question and answer box. Now we have a series of presentation on composting, biofertilizers, effective microorganisms. At the end of this, we will open the floor for discussions, and some questions can also be asked and answered live. But for the moment, I would like to ask you to please ask your question in the question and answer box. And therefore, I'm also asking the speakers to please keep an eye on the question and answer box and answer timely to the question. Thank you very much. Now I would like to give the floor to the Philippines. To Thailand. We have Dr. Nguyen Chaba, expert of Soil Biotechnology Division of Soil Biotechnology at the Land Development Department of Thailand, telling us about the functions and applications of microbial products developed by the Land Development Department. And also we have the assistant professor, Sirinapa Chungopas, from the Department of Soil Science, Faculty of Agriculture at the Kazakhstan University in Thailand, that will tell us about the biofertilizers production in Thailand. Dr. Chaba and Assistant Professor Chungopas, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes each, please. You can share your screen. We can see.
Good afternoon to all the participants. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. May I introduce myself first? My name is Nguyen Chaba. I'm expert on soil biotechnology from Land Development Department, Bangkok, Thailand. Today, I would like to be talking about the function and application of called LDD microbial products in Thailand. So I cannot move to the next slide. I'm not sure why.
You're presenting a PDF, so you should just scroll down. Yes.
You can see the second my slide.
No.
So,
okay, now yes. Yes.
Okay. So first, I'm going to introduce the responsibility of the Land Development Department. Land Development Department is an organization under the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative Thailand that conduct research on soil microorganisms and develop as microbial products called LDD microbial products. Microbial products are produced from a production plant in the Land Development Department headquartered in Bangkok, then distribute it to farmers throughout the country with the purpose of reducing the use of chemical fertilizer, pesticides, and cost of the productions. So we focus on the beneficial soil microorganisms, including organic material degrading microorganisms, mineral solubilizing microorganisms such as phosphate and potassium solubilizing bacteria. Mycorrhiza fungi is a symbiotic between fungus and root plant. Nitrogen fixing bacteria, including symbiotic and free living bacteria such as Rhizobium and Stobacter. And we study the microbial for biocontrol, both Trichoderma and Bacillus. So where we come from, I mean LDD microbial products. For the process of the research and development of LDD microbial products, in order to obtain the effective microorganism, we start by collecting soil sample, organic material from various sources in Thailand. That is the habitat of the microorganism. Then microorganisms are isolated in the specific media, and then test microbial activities both in the laboratory, and we have the experiment in the greenhouse and field to measure the activity of the microorganism such as enzyme activity, hormone producing, and study the application rate of the microbial products for crop production in various soils. And in addition, we have conducted the research and development of microbial formulation that are more effective and to make it convenient for farmers to use. Currently, the Land Development Department microbial products are available in 3 forms, including dry powder, vegetable powder, and liquid. So this slide, I would like to show about the LDD microbial products developed. First step is a microbial cultivation process to increase the amount of microorganisms for bacteria and yeast. They are cultivated in a large fermentation tank in a liquid media. For fungi and actinomyces, we cultivate in sorghum, which is a solid media. For the next step is a formulation process by mixing microbial cell with carrier at the suitable rate. And next process is a drying, including air drying and freeze drying. And finally is a product quality control, including evaluation of number of microorganisms and their activities. At present, we have 11 products are divided into 3 groups. The first group is microbial products for produce organic and biofertilizers. The second group is microbial products for plant protection, and the last group is for wastewater treatment. So I will explain briefly to each products. For the first products, we can divide it into 2 kinds of products. The first is for product for production of organic fertilizer. The second is biofertilizers. The microbial for produce organic fertilizer, there are two products. The first is a super RDD1 for composting. Super RDD1 is a group of highly efficient microorganisms to decompose crop residue and other organic materials for making the compost. Microbial activator super RDD1 consists of 8 microbial strains, including cellulolytic microorganisms and lipolytic microorganisms. They can produce cellulase and lipase enzyme to decompose organic material for decreasing composting period. The next microbial product we call super RDD2 is a group of effective 5 different microbial strains, including yeast, lactic acid bacteria, proteo and lipolytic bacteria, and phosphate stabilizing bacteria, which can activate fermentation and digestion process of fresh organic waste, such as fruit, vegetable, and fish. They are recommended for producing bioextracts. For the next microbial products group is a microbial for produce biofertilizer. We have 5 products for the biofertilizer. First product we call super LDD9 is a phosphate stabilizing bacteria that dissolve phosphorus from insoluble compound to available form in acid soil and acid sulfate soil. They consist of Burkholderia. And the next microbial product we call LDD11 is a group of co-inoculation between nitrogen fixing bacteria and phosphate stabilizing bacteria. These products are used for increasing biomass and nutrient content of leguminous green manure such as sun hemp, African doncha, and jack bean. Next product we call biofertilizer LDD12 is a group of effective microorganisms can produce nutrient element or convert insoluble of inorganic compound to soluble form to increase soil fertility, especially NPK, and produce plant growth hormone. And the next is LDD13. Mycorrhiza is a microbial product which is recommended for maize production. The 3 major groups of effective microorganisms of LDD12 are avascular mycorrhizal fungi, free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and plant growth promoting bacteria. And the next is LDD15. This product is a new product, was just launched last year. It is effective photosynthetic bacteria which can produce plant growth hormone and amino acid for promoting plant growth and yield. The next group is a microbial for biological control. The first product is LDD3. It's the antagonistic microorganism that can control and inhibit soil-borne plant pathogen both upland and lowland area, especially root rot disease of economic crop, including to high efficiency antagonistic Trichoderma viridi and Bacillus subtilis. These products are recommended to be spread into the soil. The next product we call LDD14 is a vegetable powder formulation of a Trichoderma harsenum. This product can mix with water and spray on plant directly. The benefit of 2 products are inhibit various of plant disease such as root and stem rot disease, leaf spot disease in rice, leaf fall disease, and anthracnose disease. The next product we call LDD7 is a group of microorganisms which can activate the process of the fermentation and digestion of herbs to produce insect pest repellent. Kind of herb that recommend to use for producing insect repellent are such as neem seed, long pepper, and tobacco. This is the last product we call LDD6. LDD6 is a group of microorganisms which can activate fermentation of kitchen waste for producing wastewater treatment substance, reducing odorous, clean animal housing, and control larvae of Culex mosquito. That are all microbial products. The products of the department are distributed to the farmer for free. It was distributed to officials in the regional office and farmers in 77 provinces throughout the country, including training to provide knowledge in its use. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, dear Nguyen. Now, dear Sirinapa, the floor is yours. Please, if you can share your screen. You have 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Okay, now yes.
Okay, thank you, Lucretia and FAO to invite me to present today. And good afternoon.
Sorry, it's not in presentation mode. Like if you put it in presentation modality, we just see your slides, but not the presentation mode.
Okay, I will present two topics. The first is about black soil fly larvae, and second is biofertilizer.
We cannot see anything now. If you want, I can share your slide. You want me to share your slide?
Okay, thank you. Okay, please, next slide. And I would like to divide it to topic. The first is black soil fly lava, and two biofertilizer. The next slide is on the February 7th. We have opportunity to participate in exhibition from research project at the event announcing the collaborate and launching the food waste management platform in Bangkok, and this is my team to culture back soil file. And the next, the concept is the involve using by product or organic waste to feed BASF and producing protein for animal feed and organic fertilizer, and this contribute to added value and achieve zero waste. And the next, the information from data source in the next slide. The food waste per capita at 2019, Thailand have a food waste from retail 16 kilograms and from out of home consumption 28 kilograms, and from household 79 kilograms. Total is 122 kilograms. This is a lot of food waste. And the next slide. In Thailand, we have food waste about 8 to 12.5 million tons per year and agricultural waste 160 million tons per year. Most food waste is managed by landfill or burning. But currently, there is a campaign in Thailand to separate waste, and a sustainable solution is composting to recycle nutrients into the soil. And the next, when we have a lot of waste, next slide we will use the bacteriophyte larvae to remove the waste. You can see this is life cycle of bacteriophyte and larva stage we will use for feed, household waste or industrial waste. And the right hand side, the BSF family is different from housefly, and the BSF we can see in the nature, and this is not a disease causing insects. The next slide, the BSF larva can effectively decompose various types of organic waste and reduce the amount of organic material and turn them into valuable organic fertilizers. In the next slide, you can see we will culture bacteriophyte larvae and we feed them by using organic waste, and then the residue from the cultivation are taken for chemical analysis. And the next slide, table 1, this is the property of residue from bacteriophyte larvae culture using various organic material. You can see if you use different organic material to feed them, you can get a different property of residue. For example, treatment 3, when we use pineapple peel, you can see highest total potassium. And the next slide, we use chemical fertilizer 75% together with residue from the bacteriophyte larvae culture 25% for grow sweet corn in the greenhouse. And the chemical analysis we found that high organic matter and organic carbon content in the residues. And the next slide, organic matter can improve soil properties, enhance physical property of soil, chemical property, and biological properties. The next slide, we will move to biofertilizer. In the world, the report show CAGR will be increased 12.3% for the biofertilizer market. And in the Thailand, we also have many biofertilizer. The next slide, you can see effective microorganism and biofertilizer 7 groups, especially in the next slide, we can isolate microorganism which is degrade cellulose because agricultural waste mostly contain cellulose. And we have a publication to use cellulolytic bacteria to make a water hyacinth compost. The next slide, for industrial waste, we can isolate starch and cellulose degrading bacteria and can use for remove slugs from wastewater treatment. And the next slide, we can isolate organic degrading microorganisms that can degrade organic material such as starch, cellulose, protein, phytate, and sucrose. And all of these microorganisms we can make through inoculum and make it composting. In the next slide, you can see this is composting. And the next slide, this is liquid composting. You can see the map. This is all of area the farmer in Thailand can make liquid organic fertilizer. Using inoculum is cellulose degrading microorganism. And the next slide, the BSF larvae. We also isolate some microorganisms from these insects, and we found that some bacteria have activity such as indole-triacetic acid production, phosphate solubilization, nitrogen fixation, and organic acid production. And the next slide, we will quickly talk about what effective microorganism biofertilizer research is being done in Thailand, such as Rhizobium from mung bean. In the next slide, we use phosphate solubilizing bacteria for address phosphorus fixation in soil. And the next slide, cyanobacteria can promote lettuce growth. And the next slide, we have bacteria for again fusarium. This is used for biocontrol because I think you know durian is famous in Thailand and high value in the market, and we concerned about the bacteria can again fusarium. This is pathogenic fungi. And finally, next slide. Everyone also focus on climate change, PM 2.5, and in Thailand also has a campaign to reduce burning agricultural waste. Our research also raise awareness of biodiversity decline due to burning by using metagenomic form monitoring. And the conclusion, I would like to conclusion BSF and cellulose degrading bacteria can transform food waste into valuable resources such as organic fertilizer to recycle nutrient organic matter back into the soil, and that contribute to sustainable soil and land management. Effective microorganism and biofertilizer in Thailand. Also research about activity that can promote plants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you and also to Ms. Danwanjun for the very excellent presentations. There is already one question and observation in the question and answer box that I think is addressed to all speakers and all countries. So if you can please have a look at it and answer, that would be much appreciated. I'm now passing the floor to the next speaker that will tell us about biofertilizers. I'm talking about Mr. Ahmad Asgarzadeh, from the Soil Biology Research Department at the Soil and Water Research Institute, Ministry of Agriculture, Jahad, from the Islamic Republic of Iran. Mr. Asgarzadeh, the floor is yours. You can share your screen if you feel like. Thanks.
I'm at your service. Okay. If you let me share my, I will share my screen, please.
Yes, please. If you can please also be mindful with the time because we are running a few minutes late. Thanks. We can see your screen.
No, I'm ready. Yeah, please wait a minute. Okay. Okay, you see me? Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Dr. Asgharzadeh from Iran. I will be presented this session about biofertilizer, lab to farm. I'm from Soil and Water Research Institute of Iran and work in Soil Biology and Biotechnology Research Department. Are you hear me?
Yes. We see the screen and we can hear you.
Okay. I have a small introduction about Iran. As you know, we are located in the Middle East with arid and semi-arid climate condition. It's a hot point for the petroleum too, but with very arid conditions. I'm research in Soil and Water Research Institute, so we have a many different departments that we work jointly. As you see, we work with Irrigation Research Department, Soil Fertility, Monitoring and Improvement of Soil and Water Research Institute, and also Soil Chemistry and Physics Fertilizer Technology Research Department too. Why I refer for it? Because I will be focused in this matter that how we can work as a team. My department focus on biofertilizer and biostimulant, and also soil microbiology and biotechnology too. Soil productivity enhancement using biological amendment and soil bioremediation too. And also we have a good microorganism culture collection. As you know, every soil have its own biosignature because soil is not only clay, silt, and sand, because it's a living system. It's included microorganisms, fungi, bacteria, and many microorganisms. But unfortunately, in most of the countries, focus is for biofertilizer utilization. As you see, global nutrient consumption increases very rapidly. But our research shows that increasing the chemical fertilizer utilization does not mean that we can produce huge amount of the yield. As you see, by increasing the chemical fertilizer, grain yield is not increased simultaneously, and also yield per unit of the fertilizer is reduced. So it shows that there is some problems. We focus in our country that what is the reason. We see that low content of carbon in the soil, and also low efficiency of nutrient, and also climate change is very effective for reducing the fertility in the soils too. Increasing pressure of abiotic stresses, drought, salinity, hot, and also climate change is affect the availability of nutrient and also production of agriculture too. So all of them cause that we find many deficiencies in the soils too, especially about the zinc deficiency. and soil salinity, it's a very big problem. If we see that water scarcity is also increases in arid condition too, so it's a big problem for arid countries. Sorry, let's go back. And increasing in the pH because in solid in arid soils the content of calcium carbonate is sometimes reaches to 40% of the soil. It increases the pH and also EC2. It's affect the availability of nutrient for the plants. And also organic matter is very limited factors in arid condition. As you see in the arid condition, most of the soil have a deficiency of the organic matter. Organic matter is looks like blood in the human body and affect the fertility of the soil, and bioavailability of the nutrient will be decreased by reduction of organic matter. And also nutrient fixation increases in such a soil. As you see, phosphorus is not available in calcareous soils. In our country, perhaps 10 or 15% of the phosphorus fertilizer is available for the plants. And in the other side, removal of nutrient from the soil is more than the consumption of the fertilizers by different type, as a chemical fertilizer, as a organic fertilizer too. So we have to think about it, how we can solve it. Trend in research of the soil fertility in Iran shows that in the first we focus for understanding the soils and also use only chemical fertilizer. But now we think that integrated nutrient management is a better way for solving the problems that there is in fertility of soil. Annually, we forecast the fertilizer needed in the agriculture of Iran by soil fertility, studying the soil fertility status, also expected crop yield and cultivation area. Then we recommend the integrated fertilizer instead of using of a chemical fertilizer only. It's a good strategy for solving the problems because we think that integrated soil fertility and plant nutrition management is better way than focusing only for chemical fertilizer. In such a method, environment and ecology and social situation have to be studied, and also we see the all part of the land and also situation in the soil too. So in such a method, it's better that we use the biofertilizer in farms too. Using of fertilizer in agriculture have different kinds because that when we plant in the farm, it make the nutrient from the soil, and it causes that reduction in the fertilizer, in the fertility of soil. So we have to replace it with different kind of the fertilizers. We can use natural fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, biofertilizer, and also organobiochemical fertilizer, that's compound fertilizer too. But as our friend focusing it, the composting have a special management because EC and also carbon to nitrogen ratio and also microbiology of compost is very important. Sometimes using a fresh material for a farm is a disaster and it causes many disease and also reduction of the yield too. Our research in Iran shows that increasing of organic matter only 0.1% increases the yield of the wheat near to 300 kilogram per hectare. It shows that the organic matter is a crucial problem in arid condition. Perhaps in some wet conditions, it's not problem, but in arid conditions, it's very crucial. For solving this matter, there's different methods. Some methods is conventional approaches that we add soil amendment and chemical fertilizer, but novel approaches there is like genetic improvement of plant root breeding, root architects, and also biofertilizer can help us for solving the problem for nutrient balances in the soil. As you know, some scientists think that the second revolution will be root system architect. In this case, I think that it's no need for engineering of the plants. Sometimes only using of some PGPR bacteria can do it for us and increase the mass and also root hair of the plants, and it's caused that we increase the availability of the nutrient for a plant. Finally, we can produce more yield. We can use from bacteria as a hormone producing. In olive production, we use the greenhouse mist. We can add bacteria instead of ABA hormones. As you see in this slide, it's very effective for rooting in the plants. But it was an introduction, but perhaps organic agriculture is very important in some countries, but it's the area that cultivated as organic is very limited. I think that using of the biofertilizing conventional agriculture can improve the utilization of the fertilizer in the farm, because that marketing and financial assistance are essential for organic marketing. And also the market is very limited because the price of the organic production is very high and all the people cannot buy it. So we focused for agroecology and also sustainable farming by focusing using of the biofertilizer in conventional agricultural too. So in this strategy, we try to use biofertilizer as a complementary and also increase the use efficiency of the chemical fertilizers. And also compound fertilizer can help us, because if we use only biofertilizer, it cannot meet all need of the plant in special stage of the growth, because plant for flowering, maturing the fruits, and meet the all needs in special stage need special nutrient. It's impossible for meet this need by organic fertilizer only. So using of the biofertilizer inside of the chemical fertilizer can help us for reach for potential production of most of the plants. In the arid condition, the pH is very limited factor and also easy to for solving this matter. Using of the sulfur is very important. So perhaps in some countries that have a high rain, using of the calcium carbonate is important for neutralizing the pH. But in arid condition, which is involved in many countries in Middle East, using of the sulfur is very important, because we have a huge amount of the sulfur in these countries. It looks like a mountain, as you see. Only adding of the special bacteria named Tubacillus can cause that we use the sulfur as a fertilizer in our agriculture, and also as an amendment for pH neutralizing in the most of the soil. As our friend said, mycorrhiza is other biofertilizer that's very important. Without it, most of the plant cannot be alive in the land too. So using of this technology and mass production of this biofertilizer is very important for suppressing the stresses in arid condition. We have such a technology that we can produce huge amount of the mycorrhiza as a in vitro and also in a farm and greenhouse too. It's very important in compacted soil and also in dry condition. It can help the growth of the many plants. As you see, it's increased the most, it increased the yield of the corn, sometimes 50% in arid condition. Also, mycorrhiza is a other production that is named tuber melanosporum or truffles that can farm as with the plants, especially with the orchards. And also mycorrhiza is able to use in greenhouse in seedling production with a consortium of bacteria, and it's very effective in orchard production, seedling production. Our research in Iran shows that it's caused that the implementation of the orchard became more successful, especially in the arid and slope lands. As you see,
Dr. Asghar, sorry, can you get to the conclusions, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
How many minutes I have?
Maybe 2 minutes, please.
2 minutes, okay. Anyway, our research shows that the using of the biofertilizer in a larger scale is very important for our agriculture. And also we do very big experiment to 24,000 hectare experiment in the farmland in the wheat shows that it can increase 25% of the wheat production too. Also, in the other cases, it's very effective, especially for resistance for the solid condition, and it increases the germination of the seeds. Anyway, using of the biofertilizer with different method is possible. I try to say that this strategy can become successful if we pay attention for conventional agriculture too, beside of the organic production, because there is a big capacity for using of the biofertilizer in the field, and also using of it as a bioremediation and also bio-augmentation and contamination soils for removing the crude oil contaminated soils too. And engineering of them can increase the capacity of this bacteria for bioremediation and also as a plant growth promoting. Our strategy is that we produce the knowledge, sell it for the private companies, and also quality control this production too, because there is many factories in Iran that produce huge amount of the biofertilizer. So controlling the quality of this production is very important. Without this quality controlling, it affects the market of this production. So by soil convention law in Iran, we are responsible for quality controlling and also increase the knowledge of the production in the industrial scale. We have a good culture collection too. We can work together with other countries that are interested. So the future looks like that we think. Anyway, we have to pay attention for environment and also for sustainability of the production. It's the biofertilizer is an instrument for this aim. I think that by using of the biofertilizer, beside of the chemical fertilizer, we can increase the utilization of this input in the agriculture in all the countries, especially in our country too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and apologize for rushing your presentation. It was very good, and indeed, we already have a question for you in the question and answer box, if you don't mind taking a look at it. And in, I would say, half an hour, we will start having a comprehensive discussion with also the panelists and all participants. Thank you very much again. I'm now giving the floor to the Philippines that will present about their national program on composting and mushroom production. We have two speakers of the day, Ms. Jacqueline Rojales and Assistant Director Denise Solano from the Bureau of Soil and Water Management of the Philippines. So, Ms. Rojales and Assistant Director Solano, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes each, please. Thank you very much. Wait, we can still see the screen of Dr. Ahmad. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Hello, good afternoon, Ma'am Lucrecia. And a warm greeting of good afternoon to all our participants. It is around 3:40 in the Philippines right now. And we would like to greet good morning and good evening to other participants from the respective countries as well. So I will be presenting the topic on mushroom production in the Philippines before our next speaker, our Assistant Director, Denise Solano, will be talking about composting in the Philippines and BSWM initiatives. So to start with the presentation,
بفهمید قربان شما مرسی
Jacqueline?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. It seems the transfer of okay, so I will be starting with the introduction on mushrooms. As we all know, these are protein-rich edible fungi used as alternative for meat and a very good source of other nutrients vital for one's health and wellness. And mushrooms are not only low in calories, but they are also fat-free, cholesterol-free, gluten-free, and very low in sodium. So they are also very high in fiber and iron and contain significant levels of different nutrients which are needed by our body, and even vitamin C and vitamin D. So at present, we have 11 commercial mushroom species or strains that are available and cultivated in the country with the genus of Pleurotus, Lentinus, Calocybbe, Volvariella, Auricularia, Agaricus, Termitomyces, and Ganoderma. But the most popular species, the two most popular species are Volvariella and Pleurotus species. So Volvariella is also known as rhizome mushroom and also banana mushroom, and even because it grows and it's natural present in a conducive environment, especially during the onset of rainy season. And now it is cultivated in raised platforms or beds and does not require much to cultivate. So growing method is easy. But there are also certain limitations with regards to the cultivation of this mushroom. Of course, we need the sustainability of mushroom spawns or availability for planting. And it has a very high water content, thus it is easily perishable like other varieties. Another type of mushroom. Is also known as lizard.
We cannot hear you.
Is it better now?
No, we hear you very, very far away.
Hello.
Now, yes.
Okay. Okay. So pleurotus is also known as oyster mushroom, and this can be room cultivated. And this is more sustainable when it comes to productions because it is grown in flushes and it has a very high biological efficiency. But then it also has limitations. For example, the input cost is quite high, and the producers require training and experience. And of course, the temperature requirement is below our room temperature. So we need to really set up a adequate facility for it to be profitable. So for the mushroom situation in the Philippines, mushroom consumption is rapidly gaining attention. And the annual local fresh produce as reported of the Bureau of Plant Industry is that the produce doubled from 463 to 722 metric tons in a span of 7 years. That is from 2014 to 2020. However, much still needs to be done since it is still lagging behind other countries in the Asia-Pacific region, as shown by the data in 2021. So this is a very, very small screenshot, but it only shows, I want to show that the Philippines is way below the top producing countries in Southeast Asia. And in the Asia-Pacific region, it is, of course, China is the biggest producer of mushroom in the Asia-Pacific region. So in the Philippines, we produce, of course, we are a rice-growing country, and we produce a lot of rice straw. An estimated volume of 100 million tons of rice straw is produced per annum. And out of these 11 million tons of rice straw, about 70% is burned in the field, which of course has very detrimental impact on the environment. It also is a contributory to climate change as well, or greenhouse gas emissions. And to address this concern, the country enacted the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, which not only covers the industrial and transportation sectors, but also prohibits open field burning, including that of rice straw. So aside from composting, which is being promoted through our Department of Agriculture, and also with the organic agriculture promotion of our country, value-adding technologies such as mushroom cultivation is being promoted to help augment the daily needs of our farmers. So data provided by the Bureau of Plant Industry in January of 2023 showed that the estimated number of mushroom growers, processors, entrepreneurs, and other stakeholders engaged in edible mushroom industry is 1,033. And the government efforts along this line is spearheaded and is directed towards the Bureau of Plant Industry through its mushroom culture laboratory. Government efforts to promote mushroom industry in the Philippines has been widespread. It has through the community-based mushroom production program, and this has been spread throughout the regions all over the Philippines, where soil laboratories are required and are instructed to produce mushroom spawns to assist our farmers who want to go into or are interested into mushroom cultivation. So along this line, the Bureau of Soils and Water Management is an active collaborator of the DADPI in promoting mushroom cultivation and development of technologies on how to utilize spent mushroom substrates. So we talk about spent mushroom substrates, and this is connected with waste utilization, agricultural waste utilization in particular. So for BSWM, our initiative to improve quality of spent mushroom substrate enabled us to make a proposal, to make a study to enhance or improve the quality of the spent mushroom substrates, a technology enhancing quality of soil conditioner and contributing to soil health has been developed. And this technology, the BSWM bio-SMS technology, uses the spent mushroom substrate and enrich it with organic plant supplements to improve its quality. So activities under this study involve collection of mushroom spent, then we prepare the organic plant supplements used in the study. We had the indigenous microorganisms and the oriental herbal nutrients. And then we formulated the rice-based SMS soil conditioners. And we monitored and gathered data, both in the greenhouse and the laboratory. And also, we found out that soil chemical properties were generally improved with the addition of the rice-based SMS soil conditioners. So, I have a slide, but fortunately, I was able to show it here.
Sorry, we cannot hear you.
The quality of the SMS soil conditioner was we were able to.
I'm sorry, I feel very bad. Can you please move back where you were before?
Sorry. The quality. Can you hear me now?
Very far away again.
I'm very sorry for the technical glitch that we are experiencing right now, but maybe some of
Like
the
this, it can be fine. Please continue. Like this, it can be fine. We can
thank
hear.
you, thank you. Okay, so the BSWM bio-SMS technology that we were able to develop aims to sustain soil health by returning nature back to the soil while providing plants the nutrients it needs. And we were able to prove that the quality of the soil conditioners, the different formulations passed the Philippine national standards that was identified through our Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries standards. So it is a very promising technology, which we hope can be upscaled in our future activities of the Bureau of Soils and Water Management. So I'm very sorry for if some of our participants were not able to comprehend some of my presentations, but I have come to the end of my presentation. And maybe clarifications can be sent later through the question and answer if you have any queries. And that is the end of my presentation. And I will be turning over the presentation now to our Assistant Director, Denny Solano, for her topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you. Ms. Solano, over to you. Thanks.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, but far away.
Far away. Wait, ma'am, we'll just fix.
Like
our
this.
audio.
Like this, it's fine.
Okay, hello.
Yes, perfect. Thanks.
Louder now.
Yes.
Okay, let me share. Good afternoon, everyone. Good day. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. So let me share the screen.
Meanwhile, can I kindly invite all speakers that talked already to have a look at the question and answer box, because there are some observations and some questions. Thanks. Over to you, Ms. Tolan.
Okay. Hello, Ma'am. Ma'am Lucrecia, can I ask you to, we're having a problem in sharing our slide.
Yes, I can share them for you. Just a second. Is this one?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah. So may I ask Ma'am Lucrecia to share the slide, please? Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So again, I hope you can hear me loud and clear. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Denise Solano from the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, and we would like to thank the FAO and Ma'am Lucrecia for giving us the opportunity to share the Philippines National Program on Composting and Mushroom Production. Earlier, my colleague, Ma'am Jackie Rojales, have shared our mushroom production program. So let me now share with you the establishment of composting facilities in the Philippines. Next slide, please. Okay. So let me share the Philippine situation on our soil fertility. On 2013, we have a BSWM FAO initiative project on land degradation assessment. And we have recognized a significant decline in soil fertility, especially in intensive agricultural areas. And then on 2021, the BSWM had a nationwide soil sampling and testing for rice areas. And there we have showed to 82%, or about 2.2 million hectares of the total paddy rice areas in the Philippines were mapped with low to moderately low in soil fertility. Next slide, please. On the other hand, on our waste generation, due to the continuous growth in population and dramatic increase in urbanization and food consumption, according to our National Solid Waste Management Commission, an average Filipino produces up to 0.5 kilogram of solid waste per day. So with an estimated population of 109 million Filipinos, based on our 2020 census, the total waste generated per day could run up to 54,500 metric tons. Next slide, please. In an assessment study, out of this 54,500 metric tons of waste, 52.3% are biodegradable waste, such as kitchen or food waste and garden or agricultural waste. Next slide, please. So with these challenges that the Philippines is facing, our government has come up or has issued various policies. And some of these policies are the Republic Act number 9003 of 2000, or the Philippine Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. This law emphasized the use of composting combined with source reduction and recycling component as a means to reduce sufficient amount of solid waste disposed within the local government units. Next slide, please. Another policy or law passed by our legislators is the Republic Act number 168 of 2010, or the Organic Agriculture Act as amended last year, I believe, the Republic Act number 11511. This law aims to promote and develop organic agriculture in the Philippines. It provides for the promotion and encouragement of the establishment of facilities, equipment, and processing plants that would accelerate the production and commercialization of organic fertilizers, biocontrol agents, organic soil amendments, and other appropriate farm inputs. It likewise supports protection of the environment through sustainable agricultural practices, and this paved the way for the creation of the National Organic Agriculture Program, or the NOAP, as one of the DA banner programs. Next slide, please. Furthermore, under the National Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Industrialization Plan of 2021 to 2030, this highlights the approaches to diversify, upscale, and enhance smallholder farmers, fisherfolk, and other stakeholders' income and employment opportunities, referred to as commodity system-based planning. One specific measure outlined is the utilization of farm waste as a valuable resource. Through the conversion of this farm waste into compost or as energy resources for the farm, the plan aims to reduce waste, improve soil health, and lower energy costs for farmers, ultimately contributing to the goal of increasing incomes and reducing poverty. Next slide, please. So the mentioned policies of the government are the legal basis for the Department of Agriculture through the Bureau of Soils and Water Management to implement the establishment of composting facilities in the Philippines. The objective of the program are to strengthen the capacities of beneficiaries to produce organic fertilizers or compost, to promote the extensive use of both organic fertilizer and compost in the production of rice, corn, fruits, vegetables, and other crops, to improve soil health through the use of compost that our beneficiaries produces, to reduce solid waste through utilization of biodegradable wastes as valuable resources, and to assist rural farming and urban communities to improve their net income and reduce their production costs. Next slide, please. So currently, the BSWM is establishing and distributing two types of composting facilities. The small-scale composting facility, which uses the vermicomposting method, and the composting facility for biodegradable waste, which uses the aerobic composting method. Next slide, please. Under the SSCF, or the small-scale composting facility, we distribute, with the whole package, we distribute biomass shredder, vermi brewer, and African nightcrawler. Next slide, please. So for the SSCF, our target beneficiaries are the registered and accredited civil society organizations advocating organic farming, with high priority will be given to the vermicomposting practitioners. We also target local government units, provided that they could present a program for organic agriculture. State universities and colleges offering a curriculum or subject in organic agriculture, and other government agencies advocating organic farming. Next slide, please. From 2013 to 2023, the BSWM has already distributed and established 1,122 units nationwide. And for 2024, we are going to distribute and establish an additional 572 units nationwide. The maximum capacity of the equipment, the biomass shredder distributed has a minimum capacity of 1 ton per hour shredding capacity, while the vermicompost brewer distributed can brew up to 30 liters for 72 hours. Next slide, please. So with the SSCF equipment or package distributed, our estimated minimum output per beneficiary for the first month, with the 15 kilograms of African nightcrawler provided together with the package, we are expecting an estimated production of 225 kilograms of compost. But since our African night crawlers can multiply rapidly in a short time, so we are estimating that after 50 days, our African night crawlers have multiplied up to 350 kilograms, which then can produce up to 5,250 kilograms of compost. So please note that as our African night crawler increases, our produce will also increase. Next slide, please. For the composting facility for biodegradable waste, or the CFBW, we are distributing and establishing one biomass shredder machine and one rotary composter per beneficiary. Next slide, please. So for this CFBW project, our target beneficiaries are registered and accredited civil society organizations advocating organic farming with priority to participatory guarantee system groups, local government units, state universities and colleges, other government agencies advocating organic farming, farmer cooperatives and associations, preferably willing to adopt our program in balanced fertilization strategy, learning sites or production learning center, and farm schools. Next slide, please. From 2015 to 2022, the BSWM has already established 2,594 units of CFBW nationwide. And for this year, our ongoing delivery and establishment is up to 5,672 units. So roughly, we will be having by the end of the year around more than 8,000 established CFBW nationwide. So the capacity of the equipment for the rotary composter, it can carry 1 ton per batch, while the biomass shredder, minimum shredding capacity of 1 ton per hour. Next slide, please. With this capacity, we are expecting a minimum output compost produce of 640 kilograms per cycle, and we are encouraging our beneficiaries to do 4 cycles a month to produce 2,560 kilograms of compost. Okay, next slide, please. So with this program, the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, together with our DA regional offices, evaluates and assess the project periodically. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? So here are some of the challenges identified. First is the insufficient supply of electricity to operate the rotary composter. And with this, the BSWM had conducted a pilot test of a solar power generator, which we installed in one of our project sites. And then the assessment of this pilot site will form the basis for the inclusion of the budget proposal for the solar powered system in support of CFBW. Another challenge that we are facing and our beneficiaries are facing is the lack of training on the operations and maintenance of the CFBW. And the Bureau has already preparing a training course and a refresher course for all the project beneficiaries with the objective to update them with the latest knowledge in relation to CFBW. And capacity enhancement will be conducted yearly until sustainability of beneficiaries is ensured. Next slide, please. Another challenge is the damaged parts or issues on the repair of the delivered equipments. So the BSWM has already reported this to the suppliers for their after sales. And to avoid this one, we have already included manual with a list of service providers in our package right now. Thank you. Next slide, please. So for 2024 and onward, the BSWM has the following initiatives to strengthen the composting facility establishment in the Philippines. First, we are initiating the buyback scheme, wherein the BSWM, through the National Soil Health Program, activity on adaptive balanced fertilization strategy, will procure the compost produced by our SSCF and CFBW beneficiaries. Another initiative is the biofertilizer enhanced compost. So currently, the BSWM is studying on how we can capacitate our beneficiaries on enhancing their produce by adding biofertilizers. And then we have continuous R&D for best recommended combination. So our research and development division is continuously doing studies to enhance the compost and organic fertilizers produced by our CFBW and SSCF beneficiaries. Further, we are also assisting our beneficiaries on accreditation for the participatory guarantee system. And we are also conducting training on agro-enterprise, where our beneficiaries are also taught how to market, how to package their produce. Next slide, please. So currently, the BSWM is crafting a book on 100 success stories. We will be publishing this within the year. So let me share with you 2 of our success stories. So here is Mrs. Tess and Mr. Amador Sanchez. They're the owners of the Adores Farm, who expressed their heartfelt gratitude as they proactively engage in practicing solid waste management. The Adores Farm hurdled the challenges in managing biodegradable waste, and with the turnover of the CFBW and their attendance to the training conducted by the Bureau, the farm and animal waste were utilized and converted into something useful. So these are used as organic fertilizer for their crops, for their plants, that enriches the farm soil fertility and plant health. The facility was instrumental in the improvement of their livelihood. Next slide, please. Another success story is the local government unit in Nasugbu, Batangas. Mr. Sotero Castillo, our senior agriculturist of the municipality of Nasugbu, also expressed their heartfelt gratitude to the project. Through the project, the market waste, the issues of their market waste has been addressed. In 2018, the Bureau turned over a CFBW to the local government of Nasugbu, Batangas, and they have established this in their public market. And through the CFBW, they are able to produce up to 25 sacks of organic fertilizer monthly. So per sack, I think they have 25 kilos per sack. So this produce are being offered to their farmers for free. So before, they used to have a problem with the cost of farm inputs and waste management, but now due to their own produce and compost, they were able to save more on farming, and the problem in market waste is reduced. So in line with the advocacy of the Philippine government on local production of organic fertilizer, the DA, Bureau of Soils and Water Management, through the compost production implementation team, and in partnership with the DA regional field offices and local government units, we continue to support our farmer beneficiaries in utilizing the distributed composting facilities. Thank you very much. And again, we thank FAO for this opportunity to share the Philippines National Program on Composting and Mushroom Production.
Because we're running out of time, we are actually a bit late. I would like to give the floor to the last speaker of the day, and then we have a comprehensive discussion on products and technology altogether. It's now a pleasure to give the floor to Ms. Jung Yeo-jin, ESG team leader at GL Plus from the Republic of Korea, that will tell us about their GL Plus experience in using technology to reduce food waste and produce fertilizers. So, Miss Georgine, the floor is yours. Thanks for being with us today.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, and we can see your screen.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eugene, the ESG team leader at GR Plus. It is great honor to invite me here. And our company specialized in food disposal with microorganisms. As we all know, food waste is a significant global issue that we can no longer ignore. However, at GR Plus, we have found a solution that will turn this problem into an opportunity. Today, I'm excited to share how we are transforming food waste into a valuable resource that will benefit the planet and create a sustainable future for generations to come. Okay, this is a progression sequence and okay, shall we begin? According to the UNEF Food Waste Index 2021, over 1 billion tons of food are thrown away. It's a massive amount, and the concerning part is that a significant portion of this waste is still edible. Shockingly, this massive amount of food waste generates over 170 million tons of greenhouse gases, with methane gas being a significant contributor. While we often think of carbon dioxide as a primary cause of global warming, methane gas, which comes from food waste, is 23 times more than carbon dioxide. More food waste is being created at home, and every household should make an effort to reduce it. There are several problems associated with disposing of food waste. Firstly, food waste generated a significant amount of greenhouse gases, which is a major contributor to climate change. Plus, countries spend a substantial amount of money to manage food waste. For instance, in Korea, food waste cannot be incinerated, which had led it to increase expenses for its disposal. The government aims to collect and process food waste and utilize it as livestock feed. However, this is challenging to achieve if the separation and disposal of food waste are not carried out. Lastly, food waste emits a foul smell and can cause numerous diseases. It is important to dispose of food waste in an eco-friendly way. Our long-term research has led us to the conclusion the food waste can be decomposed and destroyed using microorganisms, and the byproducts can be used as a soil improvement agent. Using microorganisms to treat food waste has various benefits. If each home had a device that could decompose the waste at the source, a lot of costs could be saved because there would be no need for collection, transportation, and reprocessing. In Korea, the government collects food waste through RFID and sets a collection schedule which often leads to rotting and foul odors. However, using a microbial food processor ensures that waste is destroyed immediately, making it a hygienic option. Microorganisms can destroy up to 95% of food, and the remaining 5% can be used as an eco-friendly soil conditioner. Okay, on this slide, you can observe the process which microorganisms break down food waste. The decomposition process is complete within just 24 hours, and the resulting byproducts can be used as high-quality soil conditioner that can be returned to our mother nature. While burning or incinerating food waste may seem like the easiest option, but it generated a significant amount of secondary carbon emission and harms the environment. Microorganisms are invisible to our naked eye, but they are still hard work, producing byproducts that can be used as compost within a day. We have developed an ecosystem that starts with consumption and ends with resource circulation. When we consume food, we create food waste. Instead of throwing this away, we use a microbial food processor to decompose it into useful byproducts. This byproduct can be used in various ways, such as ground soil for insect farm, soil enhancement, or livestock feed. Our company runs a farm that mainly rely on compost. We use the crops produced on the farm to provide food for consumer, completing the cycle of resource circulation. Our approach transforms waste into a valuable resource instead of letting it go to waste. Okay, this is about experimental cultivation using fermentation byproduct. Byproducts are collected and spread on the ground where beneficial fungi grow. I mixed the byproduct with the soil and planted various crops. During the fermentation process, byproduct is produced, which result in the creation of white mold. This mold is beneficial for the soil as it contains fungi and that helps eliminate odors and purify waters. In addition, it also contributes to strengthening the soil antioxidant capacity and enable to growth of over 80 different types of microorganisms such as yeast and lactobacillus. We compare crops that use food waste byproducts to those that didn't. We found the crops grown with food waste byproduct had longer and more numerous leaves. To obtain these following results, we established our own eco farm. We gathered food waste byproduct from the microbial food processor of our customers' household. Because this process can be inconvenient for our customers, so we offer certain reward based on the collected byproduct. The byproduct we gather were then utilized in our eco farm, where we found that crops grown with eco-friendly compost flourished. After conducting several experiments, we discovered that food waste byproducts processed by microorganisms can significantly enhance the quality of soil. This is Kimjang. Kimjang is a kimchi making event, which is a unique Korean culture designated as a UNESCO Cultural Heritage in 2013, was held using harvested crop. As the weather gets cold, people gather to make kimchi, and this event was no exception. The crops used in the event were grown at Eco Farm, where food waste byproducts are utilized to grow crops. The kimchi made from these crops was then shared with neighbors in need. I think this is a true resource circulation. And we are constantly researching new ways to innovate and improve our planet. One of our latest developments involve in combining IoT technology and microorganism food waste processor. The result is a carbon neutral platform that collects data on food waste processor at each household without any secondary carbon generation. Typically, Food waste processing generates secondary carbon dioxide, but our platform eliminates the need for transportation and processing, reducing carbon footprint. It is also include voluntary carbon reduction for users. The second one is a biodegradable plastic processor with microorganism. While biodegradable plastics do decompose in nature, specific conditions are required for this process to take place. Unfortunately, if the right conditions are not met, the decomposition rate of biodegradable plastic is quite slow. As a result, researchers are currently working on using microorganisms to speed up the decomposition process and ultimately turn into the secondary resource. Okay, I think food waste can be transformed into a valuable resource through recycling and proper management. I hope you found today's presentation helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and participation. It was very, very good. Now it's time for having some discussion. I'm sorry that the time is shorter than the planned one, but here we are. Again, we have some question and answer, some questions in the question and answer box to answer. And while doing so, I would like to ask all participants if they would like to make an intervention live, either by asking your question live or by sharing your experience live. You can raise your hand and I will allow you to talk. Meanwhile, I will start asking some questions, also taking from what we see in the question and answer box. So, can you please name the most significantly effective microbes, fungal or bacteria to convert the food waste, vegetables and not vegetables, into organic manure? This is a question for the panelists, and I think it's mostly for the Philippines. So Jacqueline or Denise, if you would like to answer this question, please. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, this is Jacqueline. For our case in the Philippines, we are actively promoting, in the past until now, we are actively promoting trichoderma as our compost fungus activator. And this has been a national program of the Bureau of Soils and Water Management in the past. So for the other organisms, we have not yet fully explored the other organisms, especially the bacteria. So as of now, I can only suggest the trichoderma as a good compost fungus activator for decomposition of organic materials. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we had an end up, so I'm now giving the floor to Banudas Penkar. Please, the floor is yours. Banudas, you can.
Hello. Yeah. Hello, thank you. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
In continuation with the same topic as now is discussed regarding the effective microbial strains regarding the decomposition of food waste, I want to ask is there any effort made to decompose the non-veg ingredient of the food waste and there?
I'm sorry, you muted yourself on the way. The question is if there is any technology to decompose those materials that are harder to, not non-vegetables basically, right? That are hard to decompose otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, can any panelist take the floor and answer this question, please?
Can I add the question?
Yes, sure.
So we are working in the Kerala. We manufacture these microbial inoculants to degrade this food waste, and there we are experiencing the problems in decomposition of food waste source of non-veg component. So anybody has tried to decompose perfectly the non-veg component of the organic waste as such? I have to ask.
Yes, the question is quite clear. Is there anyone among the panelists that would like to take this question?
Lucretia, can I add something to that question? In
Sure.
Sri Lanka, we have we are working on a research to develop a microbial inoculant to decompose mainly this food waste generated from households, targeting that. So actually, rather than looking for a single organism who can decompose the non-veg material, especially I think the problem comes with lot of oily material and also high protein materials in the food waste. So what the approach we have taken, I would like to share it here. The approach we have taken is to isolate a microbial consortium rather than a single microorganism, because as a group, as a community, one can complement the work of another, and they can successfully metabolize the material, like successfully degrade the materials rather than looking at individual organisms. So that's an approach we have taken, and we have successfully developed an inoculum for our domestic use, which reduce the decomposition time from 3 months to 1 month. So to successfully biodegrade household food waste, which include oily and high protein rich materials as well.
Trichoderma right now we are using. What another microbes you can name?
In our approach, the inoculum we developed had more than 300 species, I would say. So difficult to say which organism is exactly doing what, because we were using metagenomic approach with nanopore sequencing technique to aid development of this microbial inoculum. So it's very difficult for me to tell exactly which organism is doing which part, but as a group, as a community, they are performing the task.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Penkar, and thank you very much, Warshi, indeed. Anyone else would like to build on this question? Or also stand up and make an intervention? I'm talking to the audience now. If not, I have a question regarding technology and also link it to the presentation of Korea. Actually, let me ask it to Mr. Jung. Do you think that the kind of technology that you shared can be applied in developing countries? And what would be the biggest challenge that they will face?
Okay, I get this. I think absolutely can. Technology can be effectively applied in developing countries as they have great potential for growth and development. However, it's understandable that people may be hesitant to adapt it if they don't see an immediate need for it. It's important to remember that change takes time, and it's up to us create awareness about the benefit of technology. Although there are maybe some initial costs involved, the long-term benefits are worth it too. To ensure successful implementation, national action is needed, and we must work together to raise awareness of its benefit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now let me bounce back to participants. Do you have any technology similar to that shared by Korea or the Philippines or even Thailand in your country? Anything that you would like to share with us today? So we are talking about innovation at the farms level, but also in urban areas.
You are asking me, please?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Please. So right now we are working on the food waste also, but as well as agro waste also. We are particularly concentrating the in situ composting, which increases the soil carbon content. You can say that just now the Korean scientist has presented worker regarding the shortest time of composting. Likewise, to avoid the further cost of processing the agro waste, we are working heavily on the in situ composting, as like banana, suppose. So banana pseudostem is there, which is having a much more quantity of the biomass. So we implement the threshing of that agro waste, and before that we spray microbes manufactured by us, and it is composted at the place itself. So right now the whatever work we are doing is a successful one, and thereby we have increased the carbon content of the soil as such. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much to you. Anyone else that feel like sharing before we close the webinar?
I would like to share one thing, Lucretia. In Sri Lanka, using the food waste to produce as the food material or the substrate for larvae, which we can make use of as feed for animals, is now picking up. I saw one panelist have presented related to this. So using the food waste as the substrate for insect larvae, which we can use as a good protein source in animal husbandry, is a trending thing in Sri Lanka. I just wanted to share it with you all.
Excuse me. I think that
Yes, please.
I think that some of the technology that presented in here is locally produced. I think that we have to increase and scale up this technology for using of it in the world or in the country scale. In our country, we try to do it in a larger scale, and also municipal composting is running, and also biofertilizer produced in larger scale. So in such a situation, we can control the quality and also adopt the technology for increasing the knowledge and also effectiveness of this technology for larger scale. Thanks.
Thank you very much. This is actually a good point, and that's why these webinars are so important also to FAO, because indeed upscaling, but also maybe applying some technology to countries other than the ones that develop them. Well, it's an option that we can explore and push for. And also, I'm looking at the Q&A. There was a comment on the need to have global standards on quality for organic fertilizers that I think is also very relevant. And it's something that we can include in our work plan in collaboration with, for example, the International Network on Fertilizer Analysis, and maybe also working with the private sector. So yes, definitely. Anyone else that feels like taking the floor before we close? Okay, I'm sorry this webinar was very long, but because it was rich of content, and yeah, and I thank you all for being with us till the very end of it. Again, in addition to thanking participants, I thank also panelists, so all the speakers that share wonderful presentations, and congratulations on the work of the countries that presented, but also the work of the countries that participated to the discussion. As we could hear, they're also doing good work. And please don't hesitate to contact us in case of need, or if you have any additional question. I will be happy to channel them to the speaker, so please feel free to write me. As usual, I will share the video recording of this webinar, as well as all the presentations with you all, if not today, by tomorrow. And once again, thank you all. I wish you all a good rest of your day, and I see you at the next webinar at the end of the month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for all participants and also panelists.